In politics, as in life, the greatest gambles are not taken in darkness, but in the full glare of moral language. Golden is gambling. Will he win? Only time will tell. Golden is caught between two ethical worlds. Loyalty versus accountability. Legality versus morality. Party survival versus public trust. Golden is gambling. It's a throw of the dice. You know, Machiavelli, Niccolio Machiavelli. Machiavelli talks about protecting your political house at all costs. That the Machiavellian dogma. I wonder if Golden is reading Niccolò Machiavelli. Protect your political house at all cost. Or probably Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant says that you must only act on principles you'd want universalized. Is it Machiavelli or Kant? And therefore we must ask, is Golden acting as a prince or as a moral legislator? It's a big story. And it has taken another twist with additional information suggesting that JACDEN or the People's National Party may be indebted to JACDEN. What a preke. You never see smoke without fire. By the way, listeners, you are to send a gift, you hear? Send a rose, send a donut, send a whale. I don't know if you are if you are able to send a lion. The program needs your support. I have seen nothing to suggest that JACDEN has broken any law. That is the shield, the legal shield that Golden has held up. Thank you, Jamaican Princess. You have been such a fantastic supporter of this program. I appreciate you. People like you keep me going when I'm down and feel like I want to throw in the towel. You're one of my inspiration. You hear? Bless you. Golden holds up the legal shield. Law versus morality. In other words, what is permissible is not always what is right. You know, Thomas Aquinas says that an unjust act can still be lawful but not righteous. Don't come to us with the law, Mr. Golden. Love you more, Jamaican Princess 09. When leaders hide behind legality, are they defending justice or avoiding responsibility? This matter has damaged the PNP almost beyond repair. It is a scandal. It is a scandal. When leaders hide behind the law, are they defending justice or are they avoiding responsibility? Ask yourself that question. Starboy. And then Mr. Golden talk about Mr. Gordon has recused himself. Golden is throwing the dice. It's a gamble. Political correctness. Recusal is a technical act, not a moral cleansing. It manages the optics. It does manage the truth. You could recuse as much as you want. It don't erase what is truth. You know, Pontius Pilate washed his hands, but he was guilty. Washing one's hands does not absolve the heart. Pilate said, I find no fault with this man. But he crucified the Lord. Wash your hand, Mr. Golden, as much as you want. You're coming like a Pilate. Let me take out something here to put on my back. Mr. Golden in this Easter reminds us of Pilate. Pontius Pilate washing your hands of it, but your heart is not absolved. Recusal, repentance, or reputational management. What a scandal. What a scandal this is turning out to be. Now he shifts from defense to a moral tone. Classic political duality. Acknowledge wrongdoing broadly. Avoid assigning any specifically. It's what is called a moral diffusion. Everyone is guilty in general, so no one is guilty in particular. And then Mr. Golden says that Mr. Gordon will step aside pending investigations. This is the core gamble. Golden tries to balance loyalty, not firing Gordon outright. Accountability, asking him to step aside. This is where Machiavelli comes back. A prince avoid being hated, but also avoid appearing weak. A prince avoid being hated, but also avoid appearing weak. But here's the risk. Too soft looks complicit. Too harsh fractures internal loyalty. The question to the listeners is this decisive leadership or calibrated hesitation? A prince must avoid being hated, but also he must avoid appearing weak. What a gamble. Will there be any party left after this? Is this the end of the PNP? Three electoral defeats. A perception of nepotism, ongoing trust deficit, a party already struggling with the weight of perception cannot afford the luxury of ambiguity. This is the gamble. You protect a colleague and risk reinforcing old narratives, or you act decisively and you risk internal fracture. Anyway, golden ton, maka agojukin. Anyway, golden ton, maka agojukin. It is a fascinating case. In the theater of Jamaican politics, this is not merely a question of law. It's a question of light. Oh boy, I tell you something.
Oh gosh.
It is not whether something can be done, but whether it should be done. For power, like scripture, is not only read, it is interpreted. And tonight, Jamaica is asking, is this leadership? Is this leadership? Or is this spin, sanctified in the language of integrity? Oh, Golden, we didn't know that you were a spinner. All along we thought you were a legal-minded. Didn't know you were a gambler and a spinner. It's a googly. You see, if no law was broken, why does the situation feel morally unsettled? Is stepping aside accountability or delay disguised as discipline? And can the party rebuild trust while appearing to protect its own? At what point does loyalty becomes liability? Goldin's gamble, the politics of spin. There are moments, you see, there are moments in politics when a statement is not merely a statement. It is a mirror. And in that mirror, we do not just see the facts laid bare. We see the soul of leadership, trembling between what is lawful and what is right. This is the space into which Mark Goldin has stepped. Mark Goldin is being tested in this moment. Look in the mirror, Mr. Goldin. Look in it. Because your statement needs a statement. The statement that you put out needs a statement. Just like your apology needed an apology, this statement needs another statement. Because based on the facts, based on what you have said, nothing to suggest that JACDEN has broken any law. With those words, you have laid the foundation. With those words, Mr. Goldin, you have laid the foundation and probably a trap. And the foundation that you have laid is not one on morality. It is on legality. And here we must pause. Pause, comrades. For you see, the law is a floor. It is not a ceiling. The law tells us what we may do, but rarely what we ought to do. And we are reminded, you see, that an act can be lawful and yet fall short of righteousness. Don't give the people of Jamaica the law, Mr. Goldin. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm going to go back. Give you a little piece of advice. There are moments, you see, sir, when a statement is not a statement, you know. There was a time in Jamaica when that statement would have been brushed aside, reported as news on RJR, JBC. But today, you have the Hello Neighbor podcast and several others. And Harry. It's not a statement, Mr. G, Mr. Integrity Boss. It's a mirror. What you release is not a statement, sir. You have done more than that. you have released a mirror. And in that mirror, Mr. Golding, in that mirror, we do not just see the facts. We see your soul. We see your thinking. We see how you would manage, how you would govern. And it's troubling, sir. It's troubling, sir. Because it reminds us too much about PJ Patterson. That's how PJ governed. On law. We see the soul of your leadership trembling between what is lawful and what is right. Not everything that is expedient is lawful, brother. There's nothing wrong in having 5 girls. Not illegal in Jamaica. I'm not talking about marriage, but doesn't make it right. That's expedient. There's nothing illegal in drinking 5 Red Stripe beer. It doesn't make it right. Don't lift up the law to us. Don't lift the law, Mr. G. Because when you lift the law, you lay the foundation. You lay the foundation. Not on morality, but on legality. And anyone that lays a foundation with the law is deceptive. And former Prime Minister PJ Patterson told us that the law is not a shackle. The law is not a shackle. The law is the floor. It's not the ceiling. So the question emerges quite but persistently. Is legality being used here as a shield or as a substitute for moral clarity? We are then told that Mr. Gordon has recused himself. Procedure has been followed. The machinery of propriety turns as it should. But recusal is not redemption. It is an administrative act, not a moral one. One is reminded almost uncomfortably of the ancient gesture of washing hands. Pilate washed his hands, a symbolic distancing from responsibility without necessarily confronting it. Don't wash your hands like Pilate here, sir. That's not leadership. Is this accountability or optics refined into science? Then comes the widening of the lens. Maladministration at UHWI. The call for probity, the invocation of standards, language that seeks to elevate the conversation beyond the individual into the realm of principle. Yet there is a subtle maneuver here. I'm going to show it to you. Subtle maneuver. Tactical spin. When wrongdoing is generalized, it risks becoming diluted. And when you condemn everything, nothing is precisely judged. Classic spin Golding. The tension between collective guilt and individual accountability. All of us do it. So none of us are held accountable. That's a tension that ethics have long explored. And it leaves us wondering, are we confronting a problem? Or are we absorbing it into abstraction? But it is in the decision itself that we encounter the true gamble. Mr. Gordon is asked to step aside. He's not dismissed. He's not condemned, but he's temporarily removed. It is a balancing act that would make Machiavelli nod in recognition. Machiavelli would be proud. For in politics, one must appear decisive without alienating your allies. Principled without fracturing the base. That is the optics of politics. Machiavelli would be proud of you, Golding. But here is it. Here is the dangerous art. If you lean too far towards loyalty, you appear complicit. If you lean too far towards discipline, you risk disunity. So we must ask, is this decisive leadership or calibrated hesitation? Mr. Golding's statement returns almost insistently to the absence of illegality. And then in a turn that feels both strategic and human, he highlights the good. Life-saving dialysis machines, lower cost, tangible benefits. And here we encounter a familiar moral crossroads. Do good outcomes justify questionable pathways? And we should reject that reasoning outright. For morality is not measured by outcomes, but by the purity of intention and the adherence to duty. Good ends cannot cleanse compromise means. And yet politics, like philosophy, lives in the messy realm of consequence. So again, we press the question, can benefit sanctify ambiguity? Finally, we arrive at the highest note. The invocation of accountability. The lament that Jamaica suffers from a lack of standards. It is the language that aspires to moral authority. Mr. Golden is almost preaching there. But here lies the paradox. The more one speaks of integrity, the more one is judged by it. The more you speak of integrity, the more you are judged by it. So the greatest danger is not open wrongdoing, but self-deception cloaked in virtue. And so this is the Golden's gamble. This is the gamble. Not merely a political calculation. It's a wagering of a bet. Here's the gamble. To stand with a colleague without appearing to shield him. Stand with him without appearing to shield him. Uphold standards without tearing the fabric of the party. Navigate a moment that sits uncomfortably within a broad narrative, not one that seeks to damage the party. But the PNP is in trouble no matter what they do, because they are haunted by 3 electoral defeats. There are whispers of nepotism. Lingering shadow of distrust hovers over the party. And in such contexts, ambiguity is not neutral. It is amplified. Because a party seeking renewal cannot afford to look uncertain about its own principles. Let me repeat that. A party seeking renewal cannot afford to look uncertain about its own principles. And a leader invoking accountability must embody it in ways that are not merely procedural, but unmistakably moral. In the end, this is not just about JACDEN. It's not about Gordon or even Golden himself. It is about the quiet but enduring question at the heart of public life. Not what is permissible, but what is worthy. And tonight, Jamaica is watching. Not just for answers, but for alignment between word and will. Because in politics, as in faith, it is not enough to speak of light. You have to stand in it. And my reading of the situation is that it has been poorly handled by the party. Because in politics, as in life, greatest gambles are not taken in darkness, but in the full glare of moral language. The legal shield held up to protect the colleague has been shattered by the light of truth. Those are your notes. Join me again tomorrow when we will turn the pages of the notebook again and show you what it is that is inside.